What up, Madden 13? Got it yesterday on Season Ticket. If you don't know what that is, it's basically a little app you can buy for the Xbox or PlayStation 3. It costs $25, allows you to download EA Sports games 3 to 4 days early from when they're released. Even if you don't buy the game, you can still download it and try it out for those first 3 or 4 days before it's actually released in stores. So pretty cool. $25 seems like a lot for that, but when you make YouTube videos, it makes it worth it because I can get you the content before a lot of the other people can. So here it is. We're going to start out with Connected Careers. I want to talk a little bit about that before we get started, just so if you are unfamiliar with the new way Madden 13 is set up. Connected Careers basically encompasses both franchise and superstar mode. It also encompasses online franchises, co-op, things like that are kind of new to the game. Obviously, they had online franchises before, but now they have it where multiple people can control one team, so you can play multiple people on the same team when you do play online, which is cool. Superstar mode can also be online where you play, or I believe play against other players. You might also be able to just have leaderboard status, which is cool. Connected Careers is pretty awesome. It encompasses all that stuff into one franchise now. Instead of just taking over a franchise, you take over a head coach or create your own head coach and assign him to a team. You're in control just like you were in franchise with making trades, making cuts, picking up free agents. Now they have a lot more in-depth things such as scouting, that you can actually scout stuff like draft people. So if you want to scout, like let's say your team needs a wide receiver, you can scout some of the top wide receivers and get some of their actual attributes before you go into draft time, which makes it a little nicer and less likely you're just going to draft somebody and have them be crap. So that's kind of nice. The draft is pretty cool from what I've seen. I have obviously just started getting the game, so I don't have any of the draft stuff. Once we get through this season, it'll be kind of cool to see how that whole draft process works. I'm playing on all pro mode, which is one step below the hardest mode, which is all Madden. So let me give you my quick impressions of the game. I played for a few hours last night on a live stream, I think like 3 hours. Really like the Connected Careers, how it's all brought together. It makes the game a little bit different than before. All Pro seems to be good and bad. Some of the parts that are good seems more realistic as far as like being able to run the ball effectively in certain situations. It seems like the defense reads your plays a little bit better. You see computer adjustments if you move people along the lines, or if you shift your coverage or anything like that, you'll see the quarterback check on the opposite team. So some of that stuff is obviously new to the game because the computer never really made adjustments like that I could tell in any of the other Maddens. It seems much more realistic now. Obviously the impact engine is probably one of the biggest features of the game, the new features. It's kind of hit and miss. I like the idea of it, and on quite a few of the plays, it actually really does change the way the game is played. For example, if two people are coming in to converge on a tackler, they can run into each other and knock each other off of the tackle, which is kind of cool because that kind of stuff happens in the real. But there's also plenty of times where a guy will just bump into somebody and then go flinging backwards. So obviously it needs some work. This is the first year that it's been in there, so we'll see how it goes the more I play. Obviously I only played a few games last night. Football games take much longer to play than baseball games, obviously. So when I do a live stream, I only get 3 or 4 games in at a time. But here's the biggest complaint about the game. As you can see here, Stafford throws his second interception. Now, obviously, that one was a bad throw, but there was plenty of times last night, especially when I did Connected Careers where I created KB, where I would throw balls right on the money, and the DB would go up, take the ball down, but my wide receiver would never, ever fight for the ball. So things like that. I don't know if that has to do with the all-pro style or all-pro difficulty level. We're going to have to try that out with maybe a lower level just to see how the DBs react. But That was so frustrating last night. A lot of times I would hit guys right in the chest, and they would drop the ball. Yet the DBs can go up and pull passes down out of the midair like they're freaking Jerry Rice. So very inconsistent behaviors from the wide receivers and the defensive backs playing in connected careers where I was actually a player. It's very, very frustrating. Obviously, again, they're a bad pass by myself, so you can't really fault the system on that one. But I might throw up a KB tomorrow just to kind of show you some of the frustration I was having. Less likely full game plays, but more just give you some examples of some issues. And here, again, Kelvin Johnson, one of the best wide receivers, if not the best wide receivers in the league, especially at going up and getting passes like that, doesn't even make an attempt on catching the ball. Just lets the DB just go up and get it, which would never happen in real life. So that one is just unfortunate. And then here, luckily, get away from tackles. The screen pass does not seem as cheese as it was in previous Maddens. I ran it a few times just to kind of see how it would go. And I hardly ever got more than 10 yards at the most unless I broke a tackle. A lot of times I would get tackled behind the line of scrimmage. So CPUs are certainly much better at protecting against or covering against a screen pass. Obviously, when players run it, it might be a different story. But if you're playing against the computer, running screen passes all the time, you're going for a rude awakening as far as having success on it every single time like you could in the past. Now, once the game comes out is actually released in stores, we'll start trying some of the online stuff and see how people play it. But I think it's going to play a bit differently than it did last year. Also, at the end of this game, or towards the end of this game, I started using the Kinect commands a little bit more. I think that's going to be a huge advantage for people that use Kinect, like especially on defense. They can make adjustments so much faster now. Obviously, if you're a pro at this game, you know all the button combinations to get your defensive end or your defensive line, your defensive backs, your linebackers moved into position. But if you can just bark out those commands, it makes it so much nicer. Like there was a few times where I shifted my line and my linebackers in, like to the left or the right, and before the quarterback could make an audible, and they ended up running right into my line. It was fantastic. It worked perfectly, and it takes literally seconds to just bark out a command rather than than having to push a bunch of buttons to get your guys to do what you want. So really, really do enjoy that. I got to get that wristband that Nodis fans got. I don't know if you saw his video. He got the game early. He got a little quarterback wrist bracelet that you can flip open, and it has all the Kinect commands that you can say. And there's a few hundred of them, I think. There's at least 100, but I think there's more than that. If you go into the help, there's a Kinect help that has all of the commands that you can shout out. It's pretty remarkable how much it is, and it's very accurate, which I was surprised. You don't have to scream and yell. You just basically say it, and it does it. It's a great new feature. It doesn't use the cheesiness of what a Kinect is for kids, like moving your hands around and all that. It's actually very, very useful. I think it's a fantastic addition. They obviously made it just for Kinect because they want to try to sell Kinect bars, but you would think it would be pretty easy if they just had it hooked up to where you could just say it through your in-game chat and microphone. But maybe at some point they do that, but I think Microsoft's probably pushing that. Hey, we want this to be a Kinect feature to try to sell more Kinect bars. But I don't know. So far, I like the game. Talking to Bob Train last night, he said that he's got some custom sliders that kind of tone down the DBs on all-pro mode. I might give those a shot just to see if it makes it a little bit more realistic. Like with KB at quarterback, I was playing for the Arizona Cardinals. In his first 3 games, he threw 2 touchdown passes and 12 interceptions. And my stats, actually being a starting quarterback, I went with the high draft pick starting quarterback. That's one thing I just didn't like as well. I'll talk about that in just a second. But when you pick high draft pick, your starting stats are actually pretty good. So it was just, I don't know. it was pretty crappy the way that actually turned out. So I might have to start KB over because I can't have him starting like that. I'm going to try to get Bob Train's custom sliders. Try those out, see if it's more realistic. I also plan on making probably a halfback, maybe Bo Jackson, and probably a wide receiver. And try to restart with KB as a quarterback again. But one thing that I didn't like about Connected Careers, actually I'm going to give you two things. When you're Connected Careers, as a quarterback, you are allowed to pick whatever plays you want to run. I didn't really like that. I think if you're a player and that's all you're supposed to be doing, you should have your offensive coordinator call the plays in. Now, you should be able to have the chance to audible, but I think for the most part, the offense should be called by the offensive coordinator, not by your quarterback. Now, obviously, I haven't played running back or wide receiver or anything yet, so I don't know if you're playing a different offensive player that you could change the plays at the screen or call the plays at the beginning. I don't know if that's the case, but I know with quarterback, you basically called every play. They didn't tell you a play to run. So I didn't like that. It's not realistic. Another thing I didn't like is when you do create your player, you pick the team you want to play for, which I didn't like. I thought for sure that you would at least do a draft. But I like the old-style superstar mode where you would actually go to, like, the combine. You'd have to run 40 times. You'd have to do stuff like that. And then based on what you did at camp is how high of a draft pick you would become. So I don't like that you just pick, oh, you're a high draft pick or a low draft pick or undrafted. I mean, I like the idea of that, but I think they should have done a little bit more as far as, like, actually going into the draft the first time, doing, like, interviews and stuff. I've known they've done that in the past. I think if they would have brought a little bit more into that, it would have made it a little bit more authentic. But still cool. I just that little thing kind of irked me. But definitely going to try to start a quarterback again once we get those custom sliders. Because like I said, it was an interception fest when I played with KB. I was getting pretty annoyed, actually. Tons of the plays were really good throws, and just DBs wanted the ball more than my wide receivers, which didn't make sense. Again, Cardinals with Larry Fitzgerald, a lot of times he wouldn't even go up to get the ball. Just unrealistic type stuff. So I'm hoping with the sliders it makes it a little bit more realistic. I like all the other aspects of the All-Pro mode. Like, I don't want it to be super easy, winning 50-0. I want it to be a challenge. I want the offense to be able to score against me. And I think it's there. It's just the turnovers just drive me nuts. I mean, 12 picks in 3 games is just unrealistic, especially when a lot of the passes were like really, really good passes. And hopefully I'll get a video together tomorrow of some of that footage just so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. If you've had a chance to play this game at all, leave a comment below. Let me know what you think of it so far. Even if you've played the demo, just give me an idea of what you're thinking. Your initial reaction to the game is. Obviously, I'm only 3 or 4 games into this Madden 13 game, so my viewpoints and stuff could sway depending on how things go as I keep playing. But so far, I think it's a big improvement over the last year. It might not look like it's just watching the video or watching my live stream, but I think it's much better than it was before. Also, another new feature you can see here, after every game you can share your results on Twitter or Facebook. Pretty cool. Like, it posts, like, you know, the score, what level you were on, who you're playing as, who you played against. Pretty cool. Nothing groundbreaking or earth-shattering or anything like that, but I just thought it was a cool feature. But leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. I'll definitely get some more of these going. I really do enjoy the Lions franchise, or now the Lions head coach Connected Career. So leave a comment below. If you like this video, please hit a like button. Makes me feel good inside. Peace.